What are some lessons you've learned along the way? I mean, you've already
Well,
shared a
for
lot,
one,
but
I was like, as far as with lessons, it's just like, um, it's not a bad thing to want to actually get to know people outside of like the professional aspect of things
mm,
before like you start working together. Um, and I only say that just because you'll be surprised sometimes where it's like you feel like you and the other person are on the same page and you work together and you realize it's really not the same page. And
mm,
it's if you would have taken that extra step to actually get to know the person, then it's like you would have avoided like this whole catastrophe that you're in. um but also understanding that you are going to run into people that not everybody's going to be like you, or they respond to certain things the way that you do. But as long as everybody can come to a compromise where they can still get the job done, that's all that really matters. um and then just learning to be open minded, like never allowing those to make you feel like what you have to say or what you think is not important, but also not putting yourself in a position where it's like it's your way or the highway, because that's not how you get the dream to work.
that's true.
You gotta be open minded, and that's what I'm learning. That's what I'm still learning, where it's just like, there are times where me and you know Maid, Aaron, we won't see eye to eye on certain things, and it's just like, okay, like why don't you see this? And okay, like how do you see this? And it's just like, as long as we can get to the understanding, then it's just like, okay, so we see it like this, we see it like this. How can we get to a place where we're both happy, or do we just start from scratch again?
Yeah.
And I think that's super important, because it's just like, like I said, at the end of the day, it's just you got to have an open mind, but not too open where you become passive and feel like what you have to say or what you think doesn't matter. And keeping those around you, that when you have your moments, because you will have them, I have them sometimes, where it's like you don't want to say what you think or what you feel, but they'll bring it out of you and they'll be like, no, 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 like really, tell me what you
Yeah.
feel, tell me what you think, and I'm not going to get upset about it. I just really want to know. And I think that's super important to have like people in your corner that's not just yes men. Like you want people
Yes.
who's going to challenge, the way that you think and how you view things, because that's ultimately how you learn. There is a saying that it says, if you are the smartest person in the room, then you need to go to another room.
That's it. That's it. I
And
mean,
that's
absolutely. Absolutely. Just a thought on that. It's like, man, like, I'm huge on this. I want to write a book on this. You should help me write it. All right. So I want to call it the starting five. And here's the reason. I believe that your team is so important. And when I say your team, like some people are listening to this right now, like, what do you mean team? I ain't got a team. Yes, you do. The people that are in your life that have the biggest influence on your life, that's your team. Whether you call it that or not, whether y'all all work for each other or not, like it doesn't matter. The people who have the biggest influence on you are your team. And you will become your five closest friends. Whether those friends are family,
yep,
whether those friends are friends or work colleagues, the people you spend the most time with have the biggest influence on you. And you need to check the influence that they have, right? Good or bad. And one of the biggest, and that's why I'm so glad you mentioned this, one of the biggest changes in my life in the past year is realizing that lesson that you were just sharing. That I don't need just a bunch of yes, right? Like I don't need people that just always agree with me. I'm only going to grow, like you said, when I'm not the smartest one in the room. And I've always had a fascination, like I want to grow. I want to know more. I want every perspective. I don't want this is how we've always done it. I want different perspectives. I want to know because I want to grow. And the only way that I grow is if I learn something I don't know. If I'm always doing the
yep,
same thing that I've always known, I'm always going to have the same results that I've always had. To get new
yep.
results, you got to do something you've never done before. And so, I love this quote, if you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. And it's so true. And it speaks to that truth that you were saying, where it's like, man,
Hmm.
you have to get out of that comfort zone because that comfort zone will only give you the same results that you've been having. But when you get outside of it, it's when you find the next level, right? And so that starting five has been so huge for me.